They smile and say, "I'm surprised you actually look professional today." It sounds like a compliment, but it feels like a slap. Everyone is watching. You don't want to be the one to make it awkward, so you take the easy exit. You nod, you smile back, and you say the two words that hand them all your leverage: thank you. In that split second, you didn't stay professional. You rewarded the insult. You just showed them exactly how to hit you without ever having to face the consequences. You think you're being the bigger person. You think you're keeping the peace. But while you're busy being polite, the other person is busy mapping out your territory. They just learned that they can step on your toes and you'll apologize for having feet. That thank you wasn't a sign of confidence. It was a white flag. It happens in a heartbeat. The insult lands, and there's a micro delay in your breathing. You feel that heat in your chest, the instinctive knowledge that a boundary was just crossed. But then, the social pressure hits. You look at the other faces in the room. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be sensitive, or ruin the lunch, or stall the meeting. So you make a choice. You choose to keep things smooth. You decide to ignore the jab and focus on the praise part of the backhanded compliment. You force a smile. You exhale that bit of tension and let the words out, "Thank you." You feel a temporary relief because the awkwardness didn't explode. But that relief is a lie. What you just did was tell your brain to ignore its own alarm system. You felt the disrespect, and then you coached yourself to accept it. You traded your long-term status for 5 seconds of comfort. You think you won by staying calm, but the reality is simpler. You just taught them that your respect is for sale, and the price is incredibly cheap. You might think the people watching are impressed by your restraint. They aren't. In social dynamics, people don't read your politeness as a sign of high character. They read it as a lack of options. When you reward a slap with a thank you, the room doesn't think, "Wow, they are so mature." They think, "Okay, so that's the person we don't have to be careful with." The group's perception of you shifts instantly. You've just signaled that you are safe to target. You've surrendered your status in exchange for social harmony. From that moment on, your words carry less weight. Your no will be tested more often. Your boundaries will be treated as suggestions rather than walls. The person who insulted you just received a massive hit of social dopamine. They got to feel superior, they got to land a hit, and they got rewarded for it. You didn't just let them get away with it, you validated their behavior. You've created an environment where mocking you is not only easy, it's actually encouraged by your own response. This is what I call the subtle disrespect access pattern. It's the velvet glove analogy. The insult is the iron fist, but the compliment is the velvet glove that makes it social compliant. By saying thank you, you are effectively telling the world that as long as someone wraps their disrespect in a thin layer of kindness, you'll let them in every single time. The title of this video is true because of a simple psychological mechanism. Human beings are trainers. We are constantly training the people around us on how to treat us. When you reward a jab, you are training that person to jab again, only harder next time. You've given them access to your ego without any gate tax. We often misunderstand what politeness actually is. We think it's a shield that protects us from conflict. It's not. In this context, politeness is the very thing that helps them aim. It provides the cover they need to be cruel while maintaining plausible deniability. You aren't being stoic. You're being a collaborator in your own disrespect. The reason we keep doing this is the fear of the label. We are terrified of being the one who ruined the mood. We think that if we call out the insult, we become the aggressor. We worry that if we don't say thank you, we'll look insecure or humorless. This is a silent test. Every backhanded compliment is a probe to see where your self-worth begins. When you prioritize the mood over your own boundaries, you are paying a social tax that you can't afford. You are sacrificing your identity to keep a superficial peace. You think you're being a team player, but you're actually just becoming a target. The cost is invisible at first, but it compounds every time you nod and smile. If you don't stop this pattern, the insults don't stay subtle. They escalate. The praise gets thinner, and the slap gets sharper. Over time, the person won't even bother with the velvet glove. They'll realize they don't need it. They've seen you accept the thank you trap so many times that they know you won't fight back even when the mask comes off. Your authority begins to bleed out. When you finally do try to set a boundary later, it will feel jarring and aggressive to others because you've spent so long rewarding the opposite. You've built a reputation as the person who takes it. Correcting that takes 10 times the energy it would have taken to simply stay silent in the first place. You are slowly being edited out of the group's respect, one thank you at a time. Real politeness is not a shield. It is often the very thing that helps them aim. True composure isn't about finding a nice way to accept an insult. It's about having the strength to let the awkwardness sit in the air without trying to fix it. Next time someone gives you a backhanded compliment, don't reward the slap. Don't say thank you. Just let the silence do the work. Let them realize that their velvet glove didn't work. You don't owe anyone a smile for a hidden bruise. Respect is not something you get by being easy. It's something you keep by being firm.